Joining us with a deeper look at all this is Sahil Kapur, national political reporter for Bloomberg News. Good morning, Sahil.
Good morning.
Okay, let's first start with the item of legislation that's taken up a lot of discussion this week, the Senate tax bill, tax reform in general. Is the Senate going to pass this?
There's a decent chance it passes out of the Senate. There's desperation here among Republicans like I've never seen in Congress to get this done. They have not repealed the Affordable Care Act. They have not built a wall. They have not done an infrastructure package. They could end this year, go home for Christmas with no accomplishments, and they really want to avoid that.
You think they'll do it before the end of the year?
They are so eager to do it before the end of the year because they want to complete the year with some accomplishment. It's possible. It has to pass the Senate, and then the House has to take that up as is, or they go to conference and sort out the differences.
What are the impediments at this point to it?
I would say three big impediments. Number one is the mixing of healthcare politics with taxes. They tried to smash the ACA earlier this year. It did not work out. They have awakened a sleeping giant in the progressive base in the healthcare industry with doctors, hospitals, and insurers now saying that repealing the mandate is going to drive up premiums and cost people their coverage. The second is the issue of the deficit. There's about $1.5 trillion in red ink in this bill, and there still are some Republican deficit hawks who are concerned about that. The third is an issue that Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin has raised. He's the one Republican who has so far come out definitively against this package as it is. He worries that it benefits large corporations too much at the expense of smaller businesses like the one he used to run.
Well, and Senator Susan Collins, who's a Republican, said she's worried about the bill because whatever tax savings middle-income families may see, they may be wiped out because insurance premiums will rise.
Senator Collins and Senator Murkowski cast two pivotal votes to prevent repeal of the Affordable Care Act earlier this year. They have both sounded concerns about that. Collins told me plainly it is a mistake to mix these two issues. A third senator, John McCain, who also voted against Obamacare repeal earlier this year, seems a little more open-minded to the repeal of the mandate, so we'll see.
Let's turn to Alabama's special Senate election, which is coming up quickly here in early December. We heard from the story a short time ago that clearly there are elements in the Republican Party in Alabama who do not want things to change. They're back in Roy Moore. What is the Republican leadership in Washington saying to each other right now?
Well, this is a devastating no-win situation for Republicans. They either win that seat and invite an alleged child molester into their ranks, or they lose that seat, which should be a slam dunk seat in a ruby red state that Republicans won by literally 97% in 2014. So they are considering all options to try to save that. They've talked about a potential write-in candidate. The current incumbent, who was appointed after Sessions became the Attorney General, has suggested he's not interested in that. There has been some chatter about potentially delaying the election. Imagine the precedent that would set if you're doing that for political purposes. It doesn't look likely that's going to happen. The governor has ruled that out. So it looks like they're stuck right now.
Well, but if Roy Moore ends up winning this election, what can Mitch McConnell do? Can he prevent him from entering the Senate?
The law says that they cannot prevent him from entering the Senate, but the Senate can expel him. Now, the last time this happened was after the Civil War. And, you know, it's
been a long time.
It's been a long time. And it would be an extraordinary thing to do. And there would be obviously blowback from, frankly, the Trump base, which is still on the side of Roy Moore, the nativist wing of the party, which continues to support him. So it's a tricky proposition. There's no easy situation here. And by the way, if they lose this seat, their already slim margin in the Senate of 2 votes is cut in half.
Yeah.
It imperils everything else that they're trying to do.
Meanwhile, Democrats have their own dilemma here with the sexual harassment allegations against Al Franken. He's owned up to these. There's going to be an ethics hearing. How damaging is this to Franken? And what do the Democrats do about this?
It's very damaging, and his initial response was a little casual and you know, dismissive about this, but he eventually put out a statement apologizing and taking responsibility, promising to cooperate with the ethics investigation in the Senate. We are at a real inflection point, I think, in this country when it comes to issues of sexual harassment and assault. We have seen men at the highest levels of news and entertainment and politics accused of sexual misconduct going back decades and decades. And I think whether it was the election of President Trump, who had his own accusers coming forward, or something else that precipitated it, there are just a lot of women coming forward and saying enough is enough.
It's a sea change.
Sahil Kapur, thanks very much for being with us this morning.
Thank you.